Thank you for downloading this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. I am your host, Lorenzo Melcher. As always, coming to you live, not live, just coming to you on this podcast from my basement. Thanks to all of you, as always, for listening, downloading, subscribing, sharing this podcast, hitting that like button. Whatever we're doing, keep doing it. You can help this podcast grow for free. Because none of that stuff costs you anything, maybe a little bit of time. So thank you for all doing that. As always, every week I tell you that. So hopefully you take it to heart, because I do appreciate any support from this podcast. Although I did find out I have over 1,500 friends on Facebook and not even 150 subscribers on YouTube. So I want to get that ratio a little bit better. So if you search the Nerdball Podcast on YouTube, hit that bell, subscribe, and you will never miss an episode. Or at the very least, you'll just help me get another subscriber, and you don't even have to watch them. Just subscribe. So thank you for all that. My guest today is my personal trainer, and we talk a lot about that and him being a trainer. At the top, we talk about him nerding out about gardening and landscaping, which is always fun for me too. So I look forward to you listening to this episode. Also, as I started there, if you're trying to come on the podcast, hit us up at the nerdballpodcast at gmail.com, and you can be a guest. Simple as that. So thanks again, and enjoy the episode.
My name is David Yunker, and this is the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
All right, third time's the charm. Perfect, David. And that wasn't even your fault. You went through a bunch of David Yunkers in this Nerdball Podcast, and I think it was technical issues. So, but good job. Way to recover. Did a great job introducing yourself. So
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on my podcast again. You've been on before. I believe you were in person in my basement, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I don't know if you had that Charlie Nagy jersey hanging up back there.
No. My favorite thing about having all this stuff in the background is people just like picking things out or seeing something that either they haven't seen before or just ask me about it. But I like having all this junk back here.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I met him once actually before I really knew like a lot about baseball. I was really young. So
it was I went to spring training one year with my dad, and they told me, and I think I said this on a podcast before, but people on the internet, other Guardians fans or Indians at the time, I was tweeting with people asking questions and stuff, and someone said like it's really easy to get autographs, and they weren't kidding, man. Like the people would sign all kinds of stuff, and Charles Nagy was a coach at the time, so I had that with me. Yeah, I had that with me, and he signed it. So it is signed. It's just hard to tell from here. And then I had a couple Corey Kluber like newspaper clippings that I had signed. I had one, and then I gave one to my friend. I had this little tiny little Indians jacket. It was Mateos, and there's probably 50 signatures on that thing.
yeah,
And
that's awesome.
it was just cool. And some of them were like I had it on a clipboard stretched out. I was like, hey, like they were just walking past. I go, can you sign my son's jacket? And they see this tiny little jacket, and they'd come over, do one signature on that jacket, and then take off and just go. So it was a fun time. My dad, I want to go back. I want to take Mateo now. It was cool. I enjoyed it.
Cool. They play out in Arizona or Florida? I think it's Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a good time. Have you ever been to a spring training anywhere?
No,
I don't know
my
how
dad
into
has.
baseball you are, but
This year I am a lot because of how the Guardians are doing. But
oh.
no, my dad, that was his retirement gift. He went out by himself and played a bunch of golf and watched a lot of baseball, and it was cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
For him.
It'd be hard to. I don't know how long you went, but I feel like that wouldn't be a short trip. I feel like that's at least a week uh, of just being out there by yourself.
Yeah, it was something like that for sure.
Yeah. Could you do that? Could you just be out and just be by yourself looking at things?
Yeah, I'm super extroverted, but sometimes like I could go to a restaurant by myself at any time. Like there's weird things that I do that are pretty introverted. I don't get to do them a lot because I am such a social person. I always want to be around, but like when I do, it's like a reminder of like, oh yeah, I like this stuff.
I am a pretty big extrovert myself, and I don't really ever crave, and you kind of said it, but I never crave like, okay, I want to like do this thing on my own.
Right.
Like when I do come across that, like it is like enjoyable. Like when I worked at UT, if I had to work third shift for snow removal, I'd leave work about 7 a.m., 8 a.m., something like that, and I always stop at Waffle House and eat breakfast by myself. And that's I can do that. It always seems to be meals that I could do, because I could definitely do a lunch by myself when I get away. I told my assistant this too, like, hey, sometimes just go, you can go eat lunch by yourself and just be gone for an hour, and just collect your thoughts a little bit. But it's never something like, ooh, I want to do that by myself, because now I have a family and friends and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm the same exact way.
Is there one thing that you still can get away, like, do by yourself, and you're just like, yes, I love doing this?
Um, I think it changes.
Yeah.
I'm into gardening right now. And sometimes
Oh,
just like going out there and dumping soil and digging up stuff, and
yeah.
it's like a little kid thing, I guess, kind of, but it's it's fun.
What are you planting things, or are you moving things around? What are you doing?
Um, this is my second year doing a garden,
Okay.
and so I'm doing tomatoes. Let's see, jalapenos, bell peppers,
Nice.
cucumber, zucchini, and then carrots for the first time this year.
Okay.
So it's
Um,
been a lot of learning. And last year I got like a lot of good veggies, but it looked like it was just like throwing stuff in the ground and hoping it grew.
it's always wild. Like, it always looks wild.
Yeah,
Like you can try to like space out as much as you want, or this or that, and everything just grows together and looks crazy. But as long as you get
yep,
stuff out of it.
yeah, exactly. I kept, yeah, it was a battle between making it look nice and like trying to protect it from deer and rabbits, and so I
Hmm.
had like nets going everywhere. I'm not a
This.
designer, that's for sure.
Oh, that's all right. The stuff that I use for animals, it's called malorganite. It's sewer. It's fertilizer, but from my understanding, it's sewer sludge, so it smells human to animals, so they stay
Okay,
away. And that's I've had pretty good success with that. Just sprinkling it around. Again, it's fertilizer, so it'll help, and it's also keeps the animals away. When I had my dog would eat it, so I had to I had to make sure I put it. I had to, like, all right, just make sure he doesn't go over there for a little bit. But he would just
yep,
hoover up the shit.
that's funny.
He loved it. He loved it. Dave, what have you been nerding out about lately, man? Some hobby, something? Is it your gardening? Like, what is taking up your time right now?
Big time gardening and landscaping. I don't know. I never thought I would like landscaping, but when it's yours and you kind of get to see the finished product, it's fun. It's a weird thing to nerd out about, but I like being outside. I've always loved golf, but I haven't played that as much as I'd like to this year. Uh, but it's almost like I'm okay with it because I'm doing other stuff that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought, like, at least for the past couple of years, it's been like golf, golf, golf. I want to be good at golf, and I think
Yeah,
I maybe have come to the realization there's a cap on how good I can be at golf. Without like putting some serious time into it.
and money probably.
I want to commit to that. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got to do a lesson if I'm going to get any better because you can only teach yourself so much that you don't know about.
yeah.
Some
I
only
just
so many YouTube videos can help
I
me.
was just gonna say that. Yeah, YouTube does a lot. There's this guy. He had a TikTok channel, and he goes, "All right, I'm doing this new series. I'm going to show you every swing I take on the golf course until I hit a slice. And the very first swing, and it slices. He goes, "All right, thank you. That has been my series."
Yeah, I could write a short series about that. That's funny.
Your landscape. So all that is interesting to me, because I do the landscaping and gardening and that kind of stuff. And what have you gone to like Home Depot and bought new plants and stuff, or gotten plants from other people, or what are you working with over there?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I probably annoy some friends that I ask to go with me, but sometimes I'll go to Home Depot just to look. I
Oh
get
yeah.
them bad. Um, I'm just like, oh, I'm bored. What do they got at Home Depot that I can use? Um, so yeah, I picked up some stuff for the lawn. I'm not like a lawn freak, but I do enjoy like making the lawn look nice. And then I got a pretty small house, so the front yard is limited with what I have, but just a couple flower beds. I got well, partially gifted a tree from one of the members at the gym.
Okay.
She loves planting and stuff, so um, she brought one over and we planted that last spring, and I've kind of built around that, and then it's led to the backyard, and it's led to more and more, and
Sure.
so I probably got to scale back a little bit.
What do you
Every
know
weekend.
what kind of tree it is?
I've got the thing somewhere in my garage. It's
Yeah.
I'll have to show you. I got a
Yeah.
picture of it. I'll show you sometime. Actually,
Is
show
it
you
a
right now.
is it well, I guess you probably wouldn't know either. I would imagine it's an ornamental tree, which means it's a tree that will stay a little bit smaller.
Yes, but eventually it's gonna grow uh bigger than my house, I think. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, so it's a evergreen. Got it.
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep.
So that those are ooh, why can't all my friends are gonna be like, how you idiot? You don't know what that tree is.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
still
think of it.
learning, so
I can't think of it right now. But yeah, those are pretty popular. It looks very green, so good job. So make sure it's also this April or this spring is such a good time to get into landscaping and stuff because it's been so wet. So any new stuff you do, you don't have to water. So
oh I know. That was the big thing last year. Like I loved the because I planted a lot of stuff from seeds in my garden, but in the you get to the end of the July and I'm like, man, I'm watering like every day and I
yeah,
gotta my garden's away from the house, so I got to drag the hose back, drag it back up. I'm like, I enjoyed this a lot more when I was like digging and planting, and now I'm just spraying water on stuff. It's not as
yeah.
fun.
And then even that you have to be careful because too much, especially vegetables, too much water on the leaves will cause fungus and other stuff that you don't want.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky last year. Although my zucchinis caught, I think it was some powdery mildew, and
Oh yeah.
luckily it was later in the year, and I got plenty out of it. I was getting tired of zucchinis anyway, so you can only eat so many.
You give stuff away?
I need to do a better job of it because I kept telling myself like, oh, I'll use it, I'll freeze it and use it, freeze it and use it, and then still got tomatoes from last year in my freezer. So
From last year. Have the
yeah, I got to
have
throw them out.
have the other one started? Well, you probably arborvitae. That's what it is, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that
An
sounds right.
arborvitae.
Yep,
Yeah,
I have heard of that. I couldn't if
yeah.
you pointed it. Yeah, wouldn't be able to tell you what it was, but now I will. So
One year I got into canning, and I was canning things, and I didn't have a lot to can at my house, so I would like buy stuff. My dad likes canned jalapenos, so I like learned how to do that, and he said they were pretty good. And so I have this. I don't know how long it lasts, but it's probably no good. There's just random cans of tomatoes, like stuff that I canned, like in the laundry room here where I kept all this stuff.
I wonder. I bet it's still good. I think if you put it in a can, I could be way wrung, but
I don't know, man. I'm terrified, and I'll eat it if the war comes to an end. We'll have those. Who knows?
yeah,
Tomatoes.
yeah.
I
That's how
have
I
all
was. I
this.
was like
Yeah,
tomatoes, and I just didn't want to do the work of unfreezing them, and then. But how dumb is that? I planted them, I grew them, and threw them in the freezer, and then I'm like, nah.
I just got to throw them away.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, my wife's parents, Andrea, her parents grow a bunch of tomatoes, but they make sauce, like pasta sauce. So that's how
Yeah,
they keep them. So they'll put a bunch of tomatoes and make a bunch of sauce and then just freeze the sauce. But that gets used. That doesn't get thrown out.
yeah, yeah. Sauce is probably a little easier because most of the stuff you're doing with it is going to thaw it out anyway,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like in pasta and stuff. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I liked
Yeah.
salsa. Sorry, real
No,
quick.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Salsa, and then I made tried to make pickles last year, and that was kind of fun because I've eaten pickles all my life and never really
Yeah.
thought about where they came from. So,
Were you successful? You
I
said
think I left.
try like you weren't successful.
Yeah, they were edible. I mean, they didn't taste.
Okay.
They were just super bitter. I think I left all the cucumbers on too long, or took them off too early, or I left them on too long because they were very small, and I think I was expecting like what you would see at a store, and so
Mm.
I was like, oh, they'll keep getting bigger, and they never did, and so I probably left them on the vine too long.
Oh, okay. So I was trying to figure out what you meant by left on too long, but yeah, I don't think I ever grew cucumbers. Zucchini is really easy, I feel like, but the same thing, like it does get powdery mildew. But like you said, after once it gets that, you're just like, all right, well, I'm done anyway.
Right.
Um,
I kept trying to like tame it and cut the leaves and just kept coming on every new leaf that came. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Once it's there, it's there. And I mean, you could spray stuff on it or try to get rid of it if you want, but I don't know if it's worth it that much.
yeah.
Um, okay. So, I appreciate garden talk because that is my jam, and I like to do that kind of stuff
I
now
love
more
it.
than ever because my job I don't get to use my plant knowledge that I had, and I say had because I don't use it, so I just don't have it to use. So it is
Yeah.
fun to. I mean, case in point, the number one plant that people buy, I couldn't even remember the damn name. I had to Google it. So so
um
it is nice to talk about that kind of stuff.
yeah, I'm probably like most of my friends don't really do it, so I don't talk about it much either. My girlfriend probably I annoy the hell out of her with how much I'm like, hey, the cucumbers have grown an inch since yesterday. She's like, yeah, that's what plants do.
Like, yeah, cool. Can we eat them yet? No. But one reason I wanted you to come on here, besides that you're my friend, and I want to talk to you. But for I don't know, probably over a year and a half when this started when I was doing in-person videos at the CrossFit gym. I kept telling myself, and I would tell people like, "Hey, I'm going to start taking classes eventually," and I never did. I took one, and this was after I left. It was a trial to see if I liked it or not, and it was fun. But Andrea didn't want to do it, and Mateo was like, whatever. So I didn't go back, and now now they got sold and whatever. But a main reason I wanted to bring you on here is because you are personal training me at Fitness for All, which I know a lot of people, especially that listen to this, I know a lot of people go there already. But um, this is and by no means I'm going to say this, but by no means am I working out a lot. But this is the most I've worked out in a while, and it's probably about 2 days a week right now. Sometimes three, depending on how stuff works out. But I'm always so busy, um, and then sometimes I feel bad making you wake up so early to to go work out at 5:30 in the morning. But I do want to say to everyone too, finally, I'm finally working out, and you're helping me. And I told you, David, out to everyone else, I've coached football for a while. The one thing I'm least confident in is my ability to create a workout, um, and to know what I'm doing when I'm in there. If someone has the workout on the board, I can say, "All right, here's the workout. Don't kill yourself," and I can babysit basically. I can show people if they're doing something very poorly, I can fix that. But as far as like putting together an actual workout on what we're doing here and why we're doing this or that or how you lift, I don't know that part. So that's where you come in, and you've been a big help. Even today, I did legs today, so I was trying to like some of the machines I probably would not have used, but I used them because you already took me on them and took me through them, and then um, I had a little bit of time left over, so I did some kettlebell stuff. I have an app on my phone. It's a little cardio type more cardio than kettlebell, but you have a kettlebell, you're using it. But all this rambling to say that thank you. You've helped quite a bit, and I think I only have a couple sessions left with you. But um, you have been at Fitness for All for how many years now?
Just over five, actually five this May. So started at the beginning of 2019.
Okay, so you for other people out there, David knows what he's doing. He's been a big help, especially to a guy. If you look at me, you're probably like, oh, he knows how to work out. I don't. And so you've been a big help to me. And hopefully people see this and want to go to Fitness for All and work out. But what is your, not just with me, because that'd be a weird question, but in general, what is your favorite part about being a personal trainer?
Yeah. Gosh, it's honestly, and I'm not just saying this. I love what I do a lot. So it's hard to narrow it down to just one thing, but just kind of help, like the helping people part is the biggest thing, whether it's, training the, what we call general population, like you and getting some good conversation, teaching and helping you eventually be able to feel super comfortable on your own doing whatever you want to do. Um, or, helping an athlete, but the helping in general is probably my favorite part of it. And there's a lot of stuff that contributes to that, but you know, getting to know new people. We talk about being extroverts and getting to chat and just having a lot of different challenges in helping people too. So the challenging part, the variety part, where everybody's kind of different, everybody likes different workouts. So, you know, all that to say that, you know, helping people is a common goal. And that's probably why I enjoy it so much.
Did you know you like when you went to school, you're like, I want to do personal training? Or was that something you're like kind of said, hey, this is fun. I kind of like this.
I don't think I knew. I knew I wanted to be around sports and getting the opportunity to stay around sports and um, kind of branch out away from what I thought I was going to do, but still enjoy so much is has definitely been cool because it's it's one of those things like probably you learn in life that sometimes there's stuff that doesn't sound great to you or like sound like the your favorite thing in the world that ends up becoming like such a big passion and yeah, hobby, or I don't want to call it a hobby, it's my job, but
Yeah.
you know, something that you enjoy so much.
Uh, I was looking I was looking to see when the first time you were on, I think I'm assuming you were on because you were a football coach. Like, I mean, that's how I met you.
Yeah, it probably
Um,
would have been, what year was that? Two football, or not last football season, but the football season before. So fall of 22.
uh, that seems right. Sorry, this is I'm here we go. September, yeah, September of 22. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So I'm assuming we may have talked a little bit about being a trainer, but there was a lot of coaching and that kind of stuff. And we did talk about clients. Has have you noticed any difference in maybe clients or how you trained? Like, have you learned stuff from like let's just say 2 years ago because that's the last time we talked to you on the podcast to now? Like, are there things that you know you've changed or how you interact with people based on your experience?
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe I could be wrong because it's the only job I've had, but maybe it's unique in that way where the field is always kind of changing, even if it's just slightly. My philosophies are changing, you know, and they're not flipped upside down, but
Mhm.
there's always stuff that I add in or learn. It's just I think it's different from other jobs where, like I said, honestly, what we're doing now, exercise wise, is probably going to be different from the fad, you know, 10 years from now. So um, it's probably going to be ever evolving. And I think as a coach, with how I don't want to say new because obviously like lifting and training has been around for a while, but with all of the new stuff that does come out, you know, whether it's science wise or different philosophies or ideas for training, I think you're doing a disservice to your clients if you're not, you know, changing and learning a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, definitely a lot different. I couldn't tell you, you know, there's not like one thing I could pinpoint that has been really different, but I think always just yeah, evolving and learning is the big thing.
Do you ever have clients that come to you and like for whatever reason, like they pay you to be their personal trainer, but then try to tell you like all the things that like obviously people will come to you like, hey, this is what I want to do or this is what I want to look like. But if like they if you start doing like certain machines or something or they try to like dictate the workout when you're like, hey, well, this is what you paid me to do.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had one that I haven't been able to accommodate to because I think that, you know, there is so many different styles of workouts and there's different ways to achieve one goal. Like what's the saying? Like, you know, 100 different ways to skin a cat or something like
Oh,
that.
sure.
I mean, it's not that as long as, the big thing is safety. You know, if you're safe and there's, exercise that'll help you reach your goal and maybe it's not exactly what they had envisioned or like to do at first, but maybe tying some of that in while doing the things that I know is going to help if it assists it or um, accessorizes it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm always very open to um, doing a little bit more about their style or what they're used to or what they're comfortable with, and then maybe progressing to uh, some more stuff that I want to do or vice versa. It's kind of yeah, a little bit of accommodation and a little bit of I don't want to do that because I know it's not good for you and I know this other thing will
Mhm.
work better. So
Now there are other personal trainers there at Fitness for All. Do you, if a client comes in and wants something very specific, are there certain personal trainers that are like, hey, I can handle this, or David can handle this better, or this or that? Like, do you guys have some sort of like specialties, for lack of a better word, that you can help if there's people looking for very specific things?
Yeah, I think some some trainers are better with especially on the athlete side. Some guys have more of a background in baseball or football or different sports like that. That's the like the most glaring one, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for us, we all could handle a baseball player or a football player, but we got some that we've got a couple that played college baseball, a couple that played college football, a couple that still plays like a club soccer. So, there's a wide variety, and I think that's part of the fun for me is learning the differences for each sport and becoming a better trainer because of that.
Do you, in that same vein, do you ever go home frustrated, thinking like, man, I need to figure out how to help this person more, because I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I think the hardest part about like not being a doctor is you can't see what's on the inside. Like what you're
Mm.
training is really all inside your body, and you can't see that, and it makes it tough. And so sometimes maybe somebody's comes to me with a nagging injury, and I'm like, man, if I could just look at, or if I just knew exactly what it was, it'd be a lot easier, right? And then like one of my favorite, I guess, like not necessarily my favorite client. I don't really have like a favorite client, but like a pitcher coming to me with arm arm pain and figuring out the solution to it, not necessarily like fixing the injury, but where's the pain, what caused the pain,
Mhm.
and how are we going to fix it, and things like that. So
Do you find that you're able to do that to do that some stuff like, to me it'd be, as a personal trainer, I would be scared to be like, all right, well, we don't want to like stress that more, or have you seen a doctor, or what is your, your primary care physician feel about this, or whatever. Like, it's obviously, if it's debilitating or you can't pick your arm up, that's different, but if it's just like this thing that's always bothering me, like, how can you feel like you can help those people?
yeah, I think like first and foremost, you should, like, if you have, if you're hurt, go see your doctor and go see what he thinks. But maybe you went and saw him, and he said let it rest for 4 weeks, and you rest for 4 weeks, and it's not getting. I think like specifically like the easiest example for me is like a pitcher with elbow pain. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely go see
Oh, sure.
somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but then like the doctor's gonna say, this is what's hurt, but like okay, once that heals, like how can we with yes, I know exactly what you're saying, and so I'm gonna stay away from that injured spot. Like if it's hurt,
Mm.
we're not gonna necessarily work it, but like um,
When it's healed, is there a way to prevent it from happening again?
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For me, like I have one specific example where um, tested hip strength and mobility, and there was very little, and I'm like, it took 3 weeks for me to figure out exactly where the deficit was coming from that was causing it.
Uh-huh.
But we're 3 weeks in, and I'm like, I just had a revelation while we were doing a certain exercise. Like that makes sense. That's why let's try focusing a lot more on that and seeing if that helps. And sure enough, like the pain went away, and it wasn't necessarily an injury, but just some a little bit of arm pain after pitching and having to shut down. And the doctor said shut down. Well, in the
Mhm.
meantime, let's work the hips and work the legs and seeing what happens. And came back feeling good, and has been good since. So that's definitely a cool part. And on the same thing on the personal training side, like that's what's so cool about getting somebody when they start and seeing them change and looking back to where we were before. And it's easy to kind of get caught up in the slow progression, and it is, there's no secret tricks. It takes some consistent work over time, and you've been doing a great job with it. But because it is hard to, like you're talking about being busy all the time, it is hard to fit it in your schedule, especially with kids that are busy with sports and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
seeing somebody stick with it and get to where they're going is fun. Not
That's
to
how
get
I
off
was.
the subject of injuries, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's right. I was telling, I think, just my boss at work, like I'm only going half hour a little bit, but I always figure a half hour is better than no minutes, right? So like eventually I could probably do more, but I think what's good about working with you is everything's, you know what you're doing, everything's so efficient. I feel good after a half an hour, and like sometimes people are in there for an hour because they spend 25 minutes looking at their phone while they're sitting around.
Right.
Like I'm with you. We get in at 5:30. We're done by 6, and I'm tired, and then I go to work. Like I feel I feel good for a half an hour, and I think that's what I learned today. Like I worked out today for I think it was like 25 minutes. I did leg stuff, and then I was like, well, I got 5 minutes, and I did a little bit of that kettlebell app I was talking about, and I was like, all right, well, I'm good. I'm sweaty, and I'm good to go. And like I said, eventually there'll be times where I will stay in there for 45 minutes, and it will be working the entire time for 45 minutes. So like just starting somewhere is better than starting nowhere, and I think that's why I wanted you to be a personal trainer too, is because I know like having someone to show me and be there, and I will be efficient, as opposed to like, all right, well, what next? What does my app say I need to do next? Or what does, this online thing say I should work on? And with you, it makes it easier because you are the online thing. So,
Yep. No, and I got to remind myself that sometimes where I feel like I only did this much time. I didn't get as good of a workout as I wanted. But like you said, it's so much better than nothing. For me, it keeps that consistency going. And I think that if you say, well, 20 minutes isn't worth it because it's only 20 minutes. Well, you're like you said, it's so much better than nothing, and you're going a whole extra, essentially 24 hours without doing it. And for me, that can spiral into a week, and
yeah.
it's hard to pick it back up. So it's like, uh, even if I'm not feeling it, or if I'm like, man, what if I just took a day off? And I do think you should obviously take days off. For me,
Yeah.
it's easy to do on the weekends, but if I'm missing I don't want to miss 4 days. Missing one day is more than okay. Or taking, going every other day is great, but it starts to turn into a week. And then for me, it's easy for it to get to 2 to 3 weeks. I'm like, it's hard to get back into it.
Then you're sitting at 3 years and you're like, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah. Well, it's so easy. I get it. Just because I work at a gym doesn't mean I'm always raring to work out every single day. So
when do you work out? Because if you work there, I'm assuming you have clients quite often, and do you just have to pick a spot, or do you have a dedicated time where like, hey, I don't take any clients during this time. This is when I work out.
I never even. I guess it's like for me, there are like definitely times where somebody says I can only go at this time, so it's hard for me to like pinpoint a certain time that I can block off. I probably I could if I wanted to, but there's always one or two people that say I got to get in during this time. So there's definitely like weeks or even months sometimes where it is the same time every day. But there's plenty of times where it's just working around clients, but it's easier than for most people. I just walk a couple steps into the gym, so I don't have to plan it out of my day or anything. If I know what my schedule's looking like, and so I can figure it out in there.
If you had your pick, are you a morning or evening lifter if you want to work out?
I'm like right in the middle, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I'll get some breakfast and get a snack in mid-morning, and then like mid-morning before lunch, get my snack in after the workout, or get my lunch in after the workout.
There was a time
which is a weird time, but
it is a weird time because normally what I was probably because you work at a gym, so it's accessible for you. It's most people are in the morning before work or after work. And there was a time when I was into that kettlebells pretty heavily. I would take one to work with me, and when I worked at UT, and I would eat my lunch, and then in my work boots and uniform, whatever, I had like 15 minutes. I could do something for 15 minutes, and then I'd just be out in the shop, like with a tractor behind me or next to a lawnmower or whatever, like doing this kettlebell stuff or whatever. But I felt like, all right, if I can do a 15-minute thing in the morning, a 15 thing at lunch, after lunch or before lunch, and then do it again in the evening, then I would have a pretty full day. But it's just, again, trying to squeeze all this stuff in, man. It's tough.
No, that's great. I love kettlebells. And honestly, I think that might be a better way to do it. Better way, but I mean,
a solid way, yeah.
Just as efficient, if not more. Like, you're getting essentially 3 workouts, even if they're shorter, but you're moving, doing some strength work. It's that's why kettlebells are pretty efficient, because you can make a cardio or some strength work, or all in one. So they're fun tool to play with.
Yeah, any cardio or any kettlebell stuff I've seen it's always like, all right, you're gonna do this thing and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then you can get a 30-second break. So anything I
Yep.
ever see, it's always cardio related. I never see like, all right, you're just gonna, because you're not bench pressing like 200 pounds or 250 pounds or whatever. You're
Right.
constantly moving this weight that's 25, 30 pounds, and you're moving around with it or doing this or doing that, and it is cardio a cardio workout tool. I always feel like, and that's what I did at the end when I'm huffing and puffing. And then I thought, man, I need to work on cardio because
Yeah. And that's one thing that we probably don't do as much because of the time we have. I want to
yeah,
get as much strength stuff as we can, and cardio can be, a little bit longer of a circuit or some steady, like not slow, but low intensity, steady
mm-hmm.
state. So it can take a little bit longer, but um, yeah, it's always good to get that in. I gotta push myself to get that. I try to on when I'm really consistent, I'm getting like 4 to 4, sometimes 5 days in a week. It's try to get one day where I'm swinging a kettlebell or doing a little bit of cardio type stuff. But and I think I'll probably swing that way the older I get. But
Sure.
I'm not a huge jacked guy, and I've always had dreams of being one. I don't think I'll ever get there, but um, but for me, the strength training is fun, and maybe that came from like the football background. But
Mhm.
for me personally, I sway towards the strength part instead of the cardio. But started to try to add that in. It's probably a little more challenging mentally, but
Yeah.
like to push yourself a little bit. But it's fun. It's fun
Do
once you
you
get there.
do you run? Like if you want to do cardio, is it running?
I used to
Yeah.
not. I ran a half marathon and probably haven't even put 10 miles in since.
When do you do that?
2019, right before I started at the gym.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And there's probably been a couple winters I'll hit the treadmill, but yeah, not much at all. And I love the half marathon. I don't know why I stopped, but uh, it I'm not a natural distance runner, so it takes a little while to build up.
I by the looks of me, you probably can tell I am not naturally a long distance runner. Um, I, but I have enjoyed. I ran a couple 5Ks, and I got this app. This was years ago. This is when Mateo was a baby. I got this app called Couch to 5K, where it like I want to say it was like 30 days, but it was like first day, and it would like tell you like it would tell you, okay, run for 30 seconds. All right, walk for 2 minutes. All right, run for 30. And then like as you kept going, it was more running, less rests, more, less walking. And then it got you to a 5K in theory. And I used that before. I used this one. This one is so stupid. But this is what got me to run a little bit. It was I forget what it was called, but it was like it was an app similar to Couch to 5K, but it was zombie based. So basically, it had a story to your running, but it was very similar to like, all right, you're gonna walk to this next town. Oh my gosh, there's zombies there. Now you got to run, and then you'd run for 60 seconds or whatever. Like it was cool because it was like a story based thing. And I did it with my dog one time, and he was old already, and I was like, it was time to run, and he did not want to run. And I learned quick that I was just gonna leave his ass. If there's ever a zombie apocalypse, I'm just leaving his ass because I just kept going. I'll
You
come
don't
back
have to
and
be
get
the
you later.
fastest. You just can't be the slowest, right?
Yeah,
Just leave the
yeah,
dog and go.
yeah. But it was
That's
it was like
funny.
a
That's funny.
cool concept. And then like you had to pay to get more stories or whatever. And I wasn't having that. But um I like I said, I have run a couple of those, and it is fun. I think the fun part is for me it's the competition. Like I my sisters signed up for a 5K in Louisville, and this was forever ago. My baby sister could not make it, so it was already paid for. So I was like, all right, I'll go. And I was like, I'll walk, whatever. It's not like I'm out here. I haven't ran in forever, haven't trained or nothing. I was like, all right, I'll just sit here or I'll just walk and follow people. Uh, and as soon as they did the Star Spangled Banner, I'm like, fuck, I gotta run this bitch. And I
Yep.
ran the entire time. I felt
I
like
love
shit
it.
the next day. I think I ran a 10-minute mile, which is pretty good for not doing anything ever. But as soon as like it was just competitive, and then I was like, the whole way I was like making Snapchat videos of me like passing people. I was talking to people as I was running and stuff. So it was fun, but it's just that competitive part. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I got to do this.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. It's for me, it was like especially the training is kind of competing against myself to go a little further or try to push the pace, and then the accomplishment of finishing it was the best part. And that's probably why I don't really run much anymore, is just because like I that was that was the goal and I accomplished it, and
Yeah.
I had to really set myself up. But I don't know if I can challenge myself like that again.
That's a lot, man. I mean, we had one of our rangers ran the Glass City Marathon, and no one even knew like he was training for it. And we talked like a couple days before, like, wait, you're running this weekend? He's like, yeah. I'm like, damn. So he did. He messed his foot up or whatever while he was running, but he finished it. And I'm like, it seems like so much running. Like it seems terrible.
Like I trained for a little over 5 months,
Yeah.
and definitely as it got closer, I was excited, but I was like ready to be done too. Like it does take a toll on your body for sure. That much distance, and probably not everybody's. I've realized, because I see obviously see a lot of people running at the gym, and their bodies seem to hold up fine. But I've never gotten hurt running. I just
Mhm.
I get the aches pretty bad. So, and I like I said, I've always enjoyed lifting, and being when your legs are sore for 3 days, it's hard to get any sort of lifting in. So,
Sure.
um, yeah, and vice versa. I would like to do legs. So when I did legs, I'm like, can't run for 2 days now. I'm gonna be sore, and so it's hard to balance both. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have any goals or plans to do one anytime soon, but maybe one day again.
Speaking of goals, do you have fitness goals that you are actively working towards?
Um, I just want to put on some muscle mass because, like I said, I've never been big, but it's definitely challenging the older I get. Like my metabolism's slowing down a little bit, and
Mm,
so staying lean has been a lot harder. But that's been a fun challenge too, where uh, um, and it is hard to do both. It's possible, but it's hard to put on muscle and lose fat.
mm.
Um, but it's yeah, it's not it's fun. It's fun. I think that's my biggest challenge is the muscle mass part. I'm just small boned, and uh, I've never, like I said, never been huge, and so
You're just a small dude,
um,
David.
I just gotta consistently put in the work, and that's what, as I guess, makes it easier. Is I know that if I don't, my muscles go away. I'm always up and down, up and down, up and down
Mm.
on my regimen. So I guess like staying consistent has been a fun, challenging goal that so far so good. I think I realized how much accountability helps when I have somebody there that's saying, "Hey, let's go work out," or
Yeah.
have a scheduled time to work out and stuff like that. So
Or
um,
Lorenzo, don't eat lasagna for dinner.
yeah, that's the hardest part. Yep, yep.
But it had
Is
Garfield on the box. I couldn't pass it up.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I've seen plenty of bags of chips that are doing a promo with some sort of show that I like. Where I'm like, well, I don't know if I would have liked that flavor before, but if you're gonna put that on there,
Hell yeah, throw a Pokemon on there, and I'm all for it. What is this? I don't even
yep,
like it, but
right. But it's gone.
that's the hardest part, man. I feel good about myself though, because breakfast, I'm still hit or miss as far as eating breakfast, because it's just a hard one for me to get in. I
It
try
is,
to do it.
especially in a time crunch.
Yeah, I try to do it at least the days I'm working out. Um, and then lunch is easy as long as I pack, bring my stuff. And then dinners is just, we've talked about it before, but it's just you're either eating at 4 p.m. or 9 p.m. and you know hoping something's ready there. But I found some pretty good stuff. Easy meals. There was at Aldi, they have a lot of already cooked meals based, like the protein, the some sort of chicken or steak or pork that's already made, and you just got to heat it up. So
Yeah,
we've been able to do some of those. And the kids, well, Mateo likes them. Lillian is super picky. So like today, she didn't want the lasagna. Decided to go with beefaroni, which is lasagna in noodle form. And then didn't want to eat that, even though that was her choice. So I ate a little bit of that, had some lettuce or had some salad, and ate a carrot, and was good. So
No,
I didn't.
I commend, people like you and a lot of my clients that they can do it with families or living with people that maybe aren't used to the changes of what you're eating and stuff, because it is hard when you're not the only one in the house, but you're not going to cook a separate meal for three people and yourself one. Like
Yeah,
it makes it a lot tougher. So
it is
um,
tough. And even when I when I had that big giant tub of protein powder, Andrew's like, "What is that?" I said, "That's protein powder." She goes, "I didn't know you were gonna go like all in on this thing." I was like, "Well, I mean, it's just protein powder. I've never done it before, and David said it'd be good, so I'm gonna try it." So
yeah, it's great because it's an easy way to get protein, and it can quench your appetite and keep you from sometimes grabbing something different. So
I gotta find that piece of paper you gave me. I think it's in my truck somewhere. I hope I didn't throw it away, but the meal
we got
thing.
plenty of copies. So yeah,
Yeah, but you
yep,
wrote some stuff on there too specifically, so I want to make sure um I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But because it was just in my truck for a while, so I could always look at it and make sure I was like, all right, what am I supposed to do right now? Oh, now I eat the apple. So
yep, yep. It's it can be even when you got it right there, it's hard to think about every single thing. You're like, it's so easy to eat stuff and not even think twice about it. And for me, that's been the hardest part. Or is like I'll eat great meals, but there might be stuff in between, or I'm adding stuff to the meals that isn't necessarily best and or like
Mhm.
even good. So um, I like a little heavy cream in my pasta, stuff like that. So
Sure.
not that it's the worst thing in the world, but definitely like if I uh, am myself am like personally trying to go all in, that's the hardest thing to like really cut out. Just a
Yeah,
little like because like I said, I can feel good and feel like I'm eating good, and then I look back in the week and I'm like, yeah, there's plenty of stuff that probably shouldn't have had.
but like last week we had a contractor bring us a congratulations basket because we won an award, and it was just all chocolate stuff, like all
Yeah,
chocolate covered pretzels, just little Marshall's Buckeyes, and peanut brittle and all this other stuff. I'm like, cool, it's giant basket. I was like, well, at
yeah.
least it was a Friday because I knew by Monday or by today because of the holiday it would be completely gone, and there wasn't even a sign of the basket. The basket was gone. So
Hopefully nobody ate that. No,
and
yeah,
one
it's funny how you don't even realize how much it can pop up in your life with, even if you're trying to avoid it. And that's when you notice it the most. Before you might not have even thought twice, but now you're like, are you serious?
yeah, when I was the last time I was in like a big healthy kick when I was at UT, and at least once every couple of weeks somebody would bring in donuts or bagels or something, and I was walking past the main office, and I just looked through the door, and I was just looking through this little like schoolhouse window of a door and looking at just longingly at these donuts and bagels just sitting in there for anybody, and I'm like, I can't go in there, so
Yep.
I didn't.
Um, I can't remember what the award was called, but congrats to like it was the Metro Parks of Toledo, right?
Yeah, we've won so this park specifically, the one I work at, has won 3 awards. One we got in February or in the winter sometime. I can't remember exactly. One of my assistants is getting actually this weekend. She's going to San Diego. Um, by the time this episode comes out, it happened already. But the first weekend in June, she's going to San Diego to receive a big national award. And then we are getting something else in October. That's another national thing down in Atlanta. I got asked to go to that too, but it's during football season, and I missed that game last year, and it would have been the same game. I don't want to miss Finley again. So
Yeah.
but
Yep.
there was no shortage of people who wanted to go to Atlanta, so that will be fine.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm sure the person who got to go was really disappointed that you said no this year.
they put it out to a bunch of people. I think there was like 3 or 4 people that said they would go. So depending on budget, I don't know who's going, but yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of stuff's happening, and there's no shortage of awards in our future. I think because we're still getting, we're like, if I look at everything we're building, I feel like we're like 25% of the way there as far as completion of what we're trying to do. So there's giant features that are built, but the whole Riverwalk in general has a lot to go still. And I saw new parts today. I haven't seen stuff under construction yet. I walked over there and checked it out. So there's a lot of cool stuff, man. And I don't know if you I don't know if we've talked about have been down there or not. But it's a cool park.
No, I've been. I need to. I see it on social media and online, and it looks really cool. And every time I see it, I'm like, man, they are doing some awesome stuff down there. And then every weekend, I'm like, man, what should we do? And it never comes up. So I just got to make a point to doing it, because it'll come one day. I'll be like, man, I'll see it. I'll be like, that's what I want to do this weekend. And I haven't gotten to it yet, but it's definitely on the bucket list per se. And gonna have to make some time to do it.
Well, there's a restaurant there too, so at least you can go there and get some lunch or some dinner too, and it's pretty good food. So
I'm so mad at myself because it was like one of the first nice days. Yeah, it was probably late March. Me and my girlfriend were just like sitting around on a Saturday, and it was nice out. And we're like, what should we do? We literally went downtown and just walked around, and we did not stop by. It would have been the perfect time to do it. And looking back, I'm like, what were we doing?
that's right. There's so many people
we're walking around like, what should we do?
There's so many people that I tell them where I work and they don't even know the park exists. So there's still a lot of people out there that doesn't know it's there, that don't know it's there.
We gotta spread the good word then.
Which eventually people will figure it out. But regardless of those people know or not, there's still a boatload of people that show up every day. So that's all right.
Yep.
No shortage of people. And now that schools are out, it feels like a Saturday every day. So but it's good. That's what we built the park for. So
yeah. Did trying to think of when the ice skate park opened. Was it December or earlier? Or
so that was in November, and then it closed
perfect.
in March.
Cool.
But that was a good time. We had 50,000 skaters go through there over the winter, so that was fun. Learned a lot as far as like running it and making sure things are running okay, and so all these things everything's new, and I always got to tell my staff that like, hey, everyone's still learning things. Like it's okay if like, hey, why is this broken or why does this look like this? And hey, we are capturing this stuff and we'll get it figured out. And every day it goes by, we nail stuff down as far as like, all right, here's our processes for this and procedures for that. But that's also why I like being part of the new stuff is like we are saying like, here's how we are going to do it. So for years now, this is what people will see, and this is how we can dictate how this park's going to run, and this is how we think we should run it. And if someone new comes and thinks we're wrong, then they can decide how to do it, and it'll be wrong. So we'll have everything set to go.
No, I think that's cool. One thing that is really, I don't know where I heard it or when I heard it. It was probably like a year ago or so, but like how much like us as humans crave variety, and so getting to learn something new and do different projects is probably a lot of fun for you.
That's what's cool about the park. Yeah. Especially my staff. Like I can tell them like, all right, today you're going to mow, tomorrow you're going to fix the trail. The next day you got to go trim trails and use a high weed mower. And this next day we got to rent this piece of equipment that no one's ever used. So we'll show you how to use that. Like it is always something new, and they get to learn new skills. And, we have good people that can teach also, which is nice. So I know things are getting done correctly, or at least people are getting taught correctly if it's not me that's doing it. So I wish I could be outside more, and that's more on me trying to balance my time better. But like today I was outside quite a bit. I think I was outside till like noon today, so that was good, and then still able to get some stuff done on the computer. So it's a balancing act, but at the end of the day, my boss always says like, hey, we get to work at a park, and this is our job, and people come here to have fun, and we get to be here all the time. So it's cool. It's a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, cool.
David, before I go, I want to say thank you again for personal training me. I have learned a lot, and I think I have a couple more sessions left. But it is fun, and hopefully anybody's listening to this, if you want to know what my experience is, you can talk to me about working with David or just working at Fitness for All in general. It's a really cool place. I mean, the first time I stepped foot in there is when I met you there for the first time to have our first session. So it is a cool place. It is, I mean, it's a gym like any other gym, but it's there's a lot of people there, a lot of nice people that it seemingly when you go to a gym, I always feel like it can be intimidating, or people, are looking at you this way or that way. And I always feel that way because I think people look at me and think I should be able to lift heavy weight, and I know what I'm doing, and I don't. So, but everyone's friendly there. Even at early in the morning, people, will at least say hi and say hello, but it's a cool place. And like I said, hopefully you get a couple clients out of this, or at least get some inquiries. So you're a good dude, and I appreciate you. Like I said, showing me the ropes through the gym.
Oh, well, I really appreciate that, and I've enjoyed the heck out of working with you, and obviously working at the gym, still being there and everything, and not going anywhere anytime soon, or maybe anytime. I don't know, but yeah, no, I have a blast there, and I think you nailed it with how friendly the environment is, and it's sometimes it's really easy for me to get that gym intimidation where it does feel like all eyes are on you, but once you kind of get in there and realize that uh, you know everyone is only friendly and don't care where you're at in your fitness journey, and really, and I don't mean this, I mean this in the best way possible, but they don't care what you're doing. It's
No.
It's every man for themselves, unless you want to talk and socialize, because there's plenty of that going on too, and man or woman, I should say, there's plenty of women there as well, and everyone just it's a good time. It's a really good time, and yeah, I couldn't ask for a better work environment, that's for sure, and have some pretty awesome clients, including you, that make the job fun. So
yeah. Well, thanks for coming on here again. You are 3 episodes closer to the 5-timers club, which I had Chelsea Westfall, who's been on several times, talk about that. So I need to get my list of all these people who have been on and have like a little award made. So so you jumped a bunch of people that have only been on here one time. So congratulations.
Yeah, can't get to 5 if you don't get to 2 first, right? So
all right, David, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks again to my guest, David Yunker, for coming on the podcast. David has been a friend for a few years now, since he started coaching at Perrysburg for the Perrysburg football team, and then moved on and became just got more focused on personal training at Fitness for All. But seriously, if you want a personal trainer to help you, you can contact me or just ask for David Yunker at Fitness for All, and he will get you signed up and get some personal training in. He's been a big help for me. I've learned a lot. Even today, the day I'm recording this, I worked out by myself, and I was able to do a lot of stuff that he had showed me how to do. So it's a great resource if you're able to do it. It'd be awesome for you to check out David or ask for David. So thanks to him for coming on the podcast and for helping me learn more things about weightlifting and training. So thanks, David. As always, thanks to all of you for doing everything to support this podcast, liking, sharing, subscribing, downloading, listening, whatever you're doing out there. Continue to do it. You're just helping the podcast for free, and I appreciate all of it. Hit us up on nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. On all social media, search the Nerdball Podcast. You'll find my face in cartoon form. Click on it. Follow, share, whatever, click whatever thing you are on, and never miss an episode. So thank you, and as always, thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for always helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.